Are you looking to hire a lead generation company to generate more leads for your real estate business? If so, you're going to want to pay close attention to today's video. I'm going to give you a side-by-side comparison of our lead generation services versus some of the big players in the industry like Zillow, Realtor Com, and just give you a side-by-side comparison of what makes the most sense so that you can grow your business and get the results that you're looking for. Check this out. Hey everyone, Kevin Smullin with 2Q Lead Generation Strategies. If you are brand new to our channel, we appreciate you being here. What we're all about is helping real estate agents just like you generate more leads, set more appointments, and close more transactions. So if you would like more leads, appointments, and transactions, this is the place to be. Please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here as part of our community, part of our channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a comparison of our lead generation services versus some of the big players in the industry, Zillow, Realtor Com, and that. If you want to see the nuts and bolts of how we get the results that agents are looking for and how kind of the meat behind our process and how we're getting results, then look in the description down below. You'll see a link to our master's class. It's a 2-hour class where I break down the nuts and bolts of what it takes to generate leads, convert them, market to your sphere of influence, and just generate more business. So highly recommend that. Totally free. Go check that out. But in today's video, I want to give you a brief overview and just a breakdown of the differences that if you're considering hiring a lead generation company, some of the things you might want to look for and what you can be prepared for. Now, in full disclosure, obviously this video is going to be somewhat biased just because I have a vested interest. These are services that our company provides. And part of the reason our company exists is because we do things differently than the major players out there. So I'll do my best to be completely objective, but at the same time, obviously there's a reason why we exist and there's a reason why people do business with us versus them, just because there are differences. So with that being said, I'm going to cover our services versus theirs, really covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different aspects. So I'm going to try to be as detailed as I can and give you some ideas of how this works. So the first aspect that we want to compare is obviously lead generation. So when we talk about lead generation, really what you want to focus on and know is that how many leads am I going to get? What's the cost going to be, et cetera, et cetera. So with the leads, one of the things that you'll find is that the lead price is going to vary differently. Now, I'm going to share my screen here and show you some things. So this is the Zillow Premier Agent website, and they've got some information here on this page about their services and what they have to offer. But you'll notice that's the entire page right there. There's not tons of detail, and understandably so. The reason why they don't show you tons of detail is because this page is really not meant to do sales. It's just meant to introduce you to the program, and then they want to have you talk to a sales rep and do the customized sales there. So with Realtor Com, same thing. This is their program where they're selling leads. Same thing. They don't have a ton of information here, fairly similar to the information that Zillow provides. So there's not a ton of meat there, and so you don't get a tremendous idea. I started doing some research. I found some third-party sites that were doing reviews on Zillow and whatnot. And so obviously when you're looking at this, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. Yes, it's coming from a third party. So here's this article on the close. You can see it was written last year, 2019. Is it worth the cost? And so one of the things that you want to find, one of the things you want to know about lead generation with the major players out there, Zillow, Realtor Com, is that for the most part, it works the same way, right? Where it says the cost is determined by 2 major factors: the average home price in your chosen zip code and the other number of agents competing for space. So just as a general rule of thumb, the more expensive your market is and the more agents who are buying leads in your area, the more expensive those services are going to be, right? Those are just general rules of thumb that are pretty much true with any of these services out there. So one of the things that I tell people about, and they don't realize it until they get into it, is that the number of leads you receive versus the cost per lead, or how much you're paying, it ends up being at a very high cost per lead. In many of the markets, you'll find that the cost per lead is well over $100 per lead when you're working with some of these other companies. So this is kind of a sample spreadsheet of what he found after doing a little bit of research in the Michigan area where he's at, is that depending on the zip code, yeah, you could spend a lot less for 5 leads, but you figure 5 leads at roughly $150, that's $30 a lead, right? Whereas you start getting up well over $100 per lead, almost $200 per lead in some of the more expensive areas and more competitive zip codes. So again, the general rule of thumb with most of these companies is the more expensive the area and the more people who you're competing against, the higher cost you're going to be looking at. So one of the things that's very different about our process is that we, as we're using Facebook as the main lead generation tool, all the leads that we generate, they are completely, the cost per lead is so much less. So just to kind of give you a side-by-side comparison, here's some screenshots of ad accounts from our clients where you can see we are generating leads in massive volume for very low cost per lead. So what that means is we can make up volume and get a lot of people coming through the system, which just gives you more opportunities. And again, for what you would spend for 1 or 2 of their leads, you're probably going to get in the neighborhood of 50, 60, sometimes 70 leads through our system for the same amount of money that you would spend, mostly just because our cost per lead is so much lower. So when you look at it from the leads perspective, you've got to realize that, people say, well, their quality of lead is better than somebody looking on Facebook. That may or may not be true, right? Obviously, if they're going to Zillow or Realtor.com, a lot of those people are at least kicking tires and looking for a home, which you'll find that on Facebook as well. But the difference is the lead volume. Right? So we're able to produce leads in a much higher volume for a lot less money spent just because of the nature of it. Now, the second part that we want to start comparing based on just leads is also exclusivity. So the question always is, well, with those other places, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, are the leads exclusive? And so the answer to that question is it depends. So again, simple rule of thumb. When you have exclusivity costs more. I don't think that's going to shock any of you. So do they offer exclusivity? Yes. Is it going to cost you more? The answer is also yes, right? So with us, exclusivity is not an additional cost. That is just the way that we do business, because when we're generating leads for our clients, we're using their Facebook page, we're using their name, their brokerage. And so the lead sees all of that information leading up to becoming a lead. So they're expecting to hear from you, and there's already some level of name recognition there just because they've already seen your name. So those leads, to a large extent, would be irrelevant and unvaluable to anybody else simply because they're your leads. They're coming out of your name. So everything that we do is exclusive. We also limit how many people we work with in any given area. And the major reason for that is we don't want to compete against ourselves to produce results for our clients. So exclusivity is part of our package. It's not an additional cost. And that's just the way that we do things. So the third part that we want to compare is lead follow-up. So here's the simple truth. The simple truth is that lead generation isn't really what you need to be concerned about. Lead follow-up is what you need to be concerned about. So again, whether you're getting leads from us, whether you're getting leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, I don't care who it is, whatever your lead generation strategy is, if you do not have a lead conversion and a lead follow-up strategy, lead generation doesn't mean anything to you, right? The lead follow-up is everything. So the question then becomes, okay, with Zillow, with Realtor.com, with these major companies out there, what kind of lead follow-up do they have? Zillow says that they have like a follow-up service where they will follow up with a lead and do a live transfer. As best as I can tell, again, there's limited information out there that's in print, but as best as I can tell, They have something that they offer, but from what I see, it's also an additional cost, an additional service. So there's something there that exists, and what it is, I'll be brutally honest, I'm not entirely sure. I know with Realtor.com, I know they'll have a text and an email follow-up that you can enable. But as best as I've seen, it's pretty limited. It's basically just once the lead is first generated, there's nothing long-term. So let me give you the honest truth about what I have experienced after generating almost 40,000 leads for our clients. What I have noticed is that lead follow-up and lead nurture is critical to your success. The majority of people who become a lead are not ready to do business today. Anybody that tells you differently, frankly, in my opinion, they're not telling you the whole truth. So the honest truth is there will be a very small percentage of those people who are going to be ready to do business right away. And we love those. It's an instant hit. We make money right away. We love it. That's great. But the simple truth is that you'll get a much higher conversion rate if you're consistent with your follow-up and you have a follow-up system. So with most of these companies, they have very little, if anything, that they offer in the realm of helping you nurture someone to becoming a lead, right? Or not becoming a lead, but turning the lead into business. So one of the things that's extremely different about us is, most of these lead generation companies, they view it as once we've generated a lead, we've done our job and now it's up to you. Well, we don't view it that way because we view it as you didn't hire us for leads, you hired us to get business. So the lead being generated, frankly, for us is just the starting point. So there's two things that are super critical about what we do to help you convert leads. Number one, we have a lead follow-up system that we place them in, and it's a text messaging based system. The initial text messaging campaign goes for 120 days. There's a lot of messages up front, and then as time goes on, they spread out to be more periodic. Now, that's the initial campaign is 120 days. You can also enable other campaigns after that to where, frankly, you could follow up with the lead perpetually forever if you wanted to do that, right? And obviously, we recommend that. What you'll find with a lot of online leads is they are not ready to do business right away. It may take them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months. I don't know. It's going to be different for every single one of them. But if you've been in touch, if you've been adding value and helping them and answering questions, and they've seen you over and over again, when it is time for them to do business, more often than not, you're going to be the one that they think of. That's part of this nurture process. So if your expectation is, I'm going to get a bunch of leads, they're all going to close tomorrow, or I buy a bunch of leads and 50 of them are closing next month, I would tell you this isn't for you, right? That's not the way that this works. And you shouldn't even consider hiring us or Zillow or Realtor.com because frankly, that's not where it's at. Where it's at is in the long-term nurture and making sure those people see you over and over again. Again, simple truth is real estate is a high trust transaction. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so that frankly doesn't happen on the first contact. So with a lot of these other companies where they have no follow-up or very limited follow-up, it's just not going to help you take the majority of those leads and actually see the possible results that you could have, right? Industry standard is roughly about 1%. That's typically what you'll find as far as conversion rates. What we find is because of our process, we're getting closer to 2, sometimes 3 or 4%. Now, our clients who see the best results do their own follow-up in addition to the system that we provide, right? Anytime you're doing your own follow-up in addition to what we're doing, it will help you. But again, the money is in the follow-up. Anybody who tells you otherwise is frankly just not telling you the truth. So the first part of it is we put them on this text messaging campaign. And then when someone responds to one of those text messages, we have a live person who jumps in, manages that conversation, qualifies the lead, and sets phone appointments for people. The kind of numbers that we see on our results, let me just share my screen again. The kind of results that we see with our numbers, and again, this is directly on my website, is that roughly, and it varies, but roughly about 10% of the leads that we filter through this, we get them to respond in a meaningful way where they're telling us about what areas they're interested in, bed, bath, again, the kind of questions that you would ask to start qualifying the lead. We're getting between 10 to 15% of people who are responding. And then that's what we call a quote unquote hot lead, somebody that's responding in a meaningful way. Of those hot leads that are responding, we're typically able to set phone appointments with about half of them. And that's what you're seeing here. So the hot lead, so in this case, there were 1,900 leads that went into this, 237 hot leads. So again, if you do the math, I think that's like what, 11, 12%, something like that. And then appointments, so we're getting just under half on that one. Right, here's another example where we're getting a little less than 10% of the people responding, but we set appointments with half of those people. In this case, we had about 10% responding, set appointments with 2/3 of them, right? So again, those are our typical numbers, is we're getting around 10 to sometimes 15% of people responding in a meaningful way, and then able to set phone appointments with half of those. So think about it from your perspective. If you were to hire a lead generation company where they're generating leads and turning those leads into appointments for you and pointing out the people who are responding and who are the most interested, it makes your follow-up a lot better than wasting all your time chasing these leads trying to figure out who's serious and who's not. So lead follow-up, frankly, is one of the biggest differences between what we do and the other players out there. Now, the fourth thing that you want to take a look at is relationship marketing. Now you're going to say, well, Kevin, that's not fair because Zillow and Realtor.com, they don't do anything to market to your relationships. So it's easy to compare on this one. There is no comparison because you're right, they don't do that. But the reason why it's important is because, see, when people hire us, we don't view it as we just generate leads. Like I said, in a lot of respects, it's not a true comparison because what they do and what we do are two different things. But if you're just looking at it in a lead comparison, then that's fine. But the reason I like to bring up relationship marketing is simply because most agents that I talk to tell me that at least half and sometimes more of the business they do every single year, that it comes from their relationships, their past clients, their sphere of influence. And so I would tell you, if you don't have a marketing solution, if you're not marketing to those relationships, you're missing out on a lot of repeat business and referrals. The business that is the warmest, the people that are most likely to do business with you, you're missing out on that. So one of the things that we do with that is we help our clients take that list of their past clients, sphere of influence, whoever they want to include. We upload that list to Facebook and we run ads to them. So in addition to the text message follow-up that's happening with leads, we continue running ads to them where they continue to see your content on Facebook. This is where that repetition of building your name so they know you, like you, trust you, where that happens. We include your sphere of influence, your relationships into that marketing so that they constantly see you, right? It's a huge, huge way that our clients see greater results because they're marketing to their warmest audience, the people that already know, like, and trust you. So if you know that this is where a lot of your business is coming from, I would tell you, you want to make sure that you have a marketing solution that accounts for that, right? So we run ads every single week. In fact, our normal process is we run 2 ads. One ad is designed to generate new leads and new opportunities so that we have a constant flow of leads coming in. And then the second one is the second ad goes out to the leads we've already generated, your contacts, to people that have engaged with your page. There's all kinds of different ways that we track it. But basically, the second ad is designed to keep you in front of those people, build name recognition, build trust. 2 different ads with 2 different purposes. And so this is one of the areas where we completely excel, is because your leads, your contacts, they're going to be seeing your name all the time. And what we hear from our clients over and over again is, Kevin, I'm closing business with people that I haven't talked to in years, simply because they've been seeing my stuff on Facebook. They already trusted me and they wanted to reach out to me. So relationship marketing, even though it's not technically part of the services they provide, I would tell you from a marketing standpoint, you want to make sure you account for that just because it is such a large source of business for the majority of agents out there. Now, the next thing that you want to compare is guarantees, right? So does Zillow and Realtor.com and those other companies, do they offer a guarantee on their services? Answer is no, right? In the lead generation industry, there's really not much of a guarantee. Do we offer a guarantee on our services? And the answer is yes. I do have a written guarantee, and I'll show you that right here in writing on our website. Our guarantee is right here. The guarantee is that at a bare minimum, you're going to make back what you've invested with us, or we'll continue to work with you at our expense until you do. The reason why, oh, oops, sorry. Let me show my screen. Sorry. Here's the guarantee on our site. Again, at a bare minimum, you'll make back what you've invested with us, or we'll continue to work with you at our expense until you do. So a lot of these companies have a contract period where at a minimum, they want you to work with them for 6 months. Some of them are even 12 months. So from a contract period standpoint, do we have a contract period? And the answer is yes, we have one as well. For us, it is 6 months. So when we take on a new client, it's also a 6-month minimum. And then at that point, it's just month to month for as long as people want to do business with us. The major reason why we have a 6-month contract period is mostly just because I want to give you a realistic expectation of what you can expect. I know that it's going to take a fair amount of nurture to get these leads to turn into business for you. And that doesn't happen overnight. So again, most of the leads that we generate, they're not going to be doing business with you right away. Some of them will, but the majority of them won't. That's the honest truth. So in order for you to really see success, it's going to take some time and some nurture and some follow-up. And so that's why we have a 6-month contract period, is because in all honesty, that's what it's going to take for you to see the results in the forms of closings and commissions for the work that we're doing. You'll see some right away, but some of them are going to take more time. That's just the nature of the real estate industry. So we do have that 6-month period, but again, I can offer the guarantee because frankly, it's just math. I know if I generate X number of leads for you, and we have a very systematized follow-up system that's happening, and I'm marketing to your relationships, I know you're going to do business, right? I've never had anybody have to enforce the 6-month guarantee here because they've done more than that from the leads that we've generated. So that is our service guarantee. So that's the next thing you want to keep in mind. Customization is the next thing that you want to keep in mind as you're focusing on differences and whether you want to work with somebody or not. With Zillow, really the only customization they offer, frankly, what really makes the Zillow platform work is your profile. So you get a profile on their website where you can build up your profile, and if you have lots of reviews, and lots of testimonials and those kinds of things, that is typically the people who see the greatest results with Zillow, frankly. So if you're going to go that route, you need to know that you want to build an ironclad profile on their system, because when a potential buyer is on there and they see several different agents and there's one with 500 5-star reviews and everybody's raving about them, that's probably who they're going to feel comfortable working with, right? So you've got to build an ironclad profile, and it's probably going to take you a little bit of time and a little bit of work to get to that point. And then this is kind of with Zillow, everything I've heard about their system is that it's very much a matter of the rich get richer, to where the profiles that are the best, they win the bulk of the business. They also get the bulk of the business because they're also spending bulk of the money. I'm sure that doesn't surprise anybody, but that's if you really want success with their system, everything I've read, everything I've heard, everything I've heard people talk about, that's what they talk about. So that's the level of customization there. With Realtor.com, kind of the same thing. It's all based on your profile and how things work. With us, we have full customization. So because we're working with people one-on-one, we meet with them every single week. We can totally customize anything we do, from branding to messaging to the marketing strategies, the ads that we run. Everything can be completely customized. So people really like that about us, is the customization. Next thing to keep in mind is a CRM. Is there a CRM or things that are offered? Zillow does offer a CRM. Everything I've heard is that it's not going to be like jaw dropping. It's a CRM with basic functionality. The other thing that Zillow does offer is a website. You can have a custom domain with your website. If that's valuable to you, then great. In my opinion, most of the agents that I talk to, especially if they're at this point in their career where they're considering hiring a lead generation company, they probably already have their own website. The one thing I don't like about the website concept is if you ever stop being a client of Zillow, now all of a sudden you don't have a website anymore. So keep that in mind as well. But they do have a CRM. It's basically a repository of where all the leads are compiled. Realtor.com has something similar with their app. Again, just a holding place where all these leads are stored so that you have that data. With us, we have a lead management system. So what happens is all the leads that we generate into Facebook, they go into this lead management system where the text messaging is happening. And you can see all of the texts that are going out, all of the communications that the live person is having with people as they respond, the appointments that are being set, all the contact information, all the scripts, all the campaigns, everything is in there. And again, completely customizable. So it's not a CRM in the sense of where you would track transactions and set appointments and to-do list. It's not that kind of a CRM. It's what we offer is more what I would call a lead management system, where you can see all the leads, the follow-up that's being done, conversations that are being had, appointments that are being set. That's what you're going to see inside there. And then cost. So cost with them, as you've seen, it fluctuates greatly. Fluctuates a lot depending on competition, how many other people are doing it, sales prices in your area, et cetera, et cetera. So all I can really tell you about cost is it's kind of just whatever your budget is and what the competition is. So my experience with cost is I've talked with people. I know I've had clients that I started working with that were using Realtor.com, and they mentioned at the time that we started that they were spending about $3,000 a month in leads to get leads from Realtor.com. And it was a little more expensive because they had paid for some exclusivity. So I get that. But that's kind of what they were spending. Talked with somebody about 2-3 months ago who had just gone and gotten a quote from Zillow. Now they're in Orange County. Granted, it's Orange County, California. Very competitive area, very expensive, booming real estate market. And so it's going to be on the more expensive side of things. But the quote they gave him was that roughly for 50 leads a month, it was going to cost him about $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month was the quote that they gave him. And so with that, again, there's very limited, if any, follow-up. It's just leads, and whatever happens, happens, no guarantee. So what's the cost with us? The cost with us is $1,500 a month. So for the $1,500 a month, that includes everything that I've talked about, the lead follow-up, the relationship marketing, us generating the leads, covers all of that. The only thing that is not included in the $1,500 a month is whatever you're spending for your advertising budget. So we keep the marketing budget separate simply because all of our clients are at different levels. Some of my clients are individual agents where they just want to generate enough leads for themselves. Other ones are team leaders where they want to generate enough leads for the team, so they have a larger budget to accomplish that. Also have some brokerages that we work with where the brokerage is generating leads for everyone. And so obviously they have a more aggressive budget to do that. So that's why we keep the budget part separate, is just to allow you to scale to the level you want to scale. You can run this at whatever level you want to run it. Most of our clients spend in the range of around $300 to $500 a month on their advertising. And what they're getting for that is usually in the neighborhood of around 200 leads per month. On that budget, as well as marketing to their relationships and everything that we've talked about. So that's kind of their all-in would be around $300 to $500. So in essence, they're spending about $1,800 to $2,000, and they're getting the lead follow-up and the guarantee and. So that is really as much of a side-by-side comparison as I can give you. Again, where we excel in the marketplace is where a lot of these companies just don't provide services. It's not just the lead generation, it's helping you turn those leads into appointments. The appointments ultimately lead to closings. Also, if you are if you have a list, if you've got your database, your sphere of influence, past clients, being able to market to those people is a huge, huge advantage to keep you front and center with your warmest market of people. So that is the video about us versus Realtor.com versus Zillow.com. Frankly, most of the lead generation companies work fairly similarly to what their model is, and we just offer something different. So if you're at a point where you're considering taking a look at lead generation companies and wanting to move things forward, reach out, give us a call. We'd be happy to review our services, talk about whether we have openings in your area or not, and then we can go from there. So down in the description below, you'll see a link where you can find out more information about our services. Please go ahead and click on that if you're interested. Otherwise, make it a great week. Keep crushing it. I'm going to put up a couple more videos right here. That way you can continue seeing more of the content and the strategies that we teach. Also, make sure if you haven't, please consider subscribing. Love to have you here as part of our community. We share new tips, new strategies every single week that will help you grow your business. So with that, like I said, keep crushing it, make it a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.